And now, the coolest, most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000 or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Good morning, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And I did check again today, and that is exactly what it still is. It has not changed. It is Thursday, February the 4th in the year of our Lord 2016, which means you've got one more day until you get into your weekend. The call-in number this morning is 603-835-3224. Got a lot of stuff to go over with. And, you know, I was going to start off the program with this whole Carson Cruz, Trump, Rubio debacle. Who said what? Who said it first? Who said it second? Who shouldn't have said it that did say it, but who said it that who didn't say it that should have said it? Who said it in the first place? Why is everybody else saying that somebody else said it when the first person said it? Because the second person didn't really say it. They were just copying the first person, and the first person isn't really the first person to say it because it actually came from the minus first person's camp, but it wasn't the minus first person's camp's fault because it was the news person's problem. Do you follow all of that? I know. Look, just insert anybody's name into those positions, and you gotta. I mean, you want to talk about a ridiculous soap opera that's going on right now about this whole Iowa thing? My head is still spinning over this. I'm still trying to straighten this out because every time I think I've gotten a grasp on it, somebody else throws something new in the mix. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to gloss this over a little bit about the information that I already have, because every time I think I've got it, I hear a new piece of information. You want to talk about spy novels? This has got spy stuff written all over it. Now, here's the skinny so far, as I understand it. And wait till noon and what I understand will be wrong. So follow me on this for a second. I know there are a bunch of people out there. Now, first of all, let me just say this, and I know I'm going to catch hell for this, but Trump needs to shut up about it. He's acting like a little baby. He really is. It was good of him to claim victory in Iowa the way he did it, but now he's sounding disingenuous by saying Cruz stole the election. Let me tell you something. Like Cruz or not like Cruz, I don't particularly care. It's irrelevant. What is relevant is that the internal polling had Dr. Carson gaining or garnering about 10% of the Iowa vote. Oh, he got 9%. So guess what? The internal polling was correct. Here's the little skinny for you Trumpsters. The internal polling had Cruz winning Iowa. Get over it. Taking 1 percentage point from Cruz did not help, 1 percentage point from Carson did not help Cruz. If anything, from what we're possibly seeing, it could have helped Rubio. Because it seems like the people who are getting out of, Rand Paul didn't specifically endorse anybody after he got out, but we see Santorum taking his 1% and giving it to Rubio. I mean, this is just getting out of hand. So here's a skinny on how I understand it so far. There is a fuzzy timeline, I guess. But the timeline is that the Carson camp put out a notice that Dr. Carson was not going to New Hampshire or Carolina, but the next time he was going to pop up was going to be in Washington, D.C. at the prayer breakfast a week from today. He was going home to Florida to get some clothing. Now, for most people who have covered presidential runs and elections before, they thought it was strange. But here's the problem. Dr. Carson is not the conventional politician. This is his first time running for public office, as far as I know. So he's a total rookie. And here's a guy that went off to the Middle East for how many days? In the middle of a campaign. He goes off to the Middle East. Here's a guy that loses a volunteer staffer and shuts his campaign down for a couple of days for mourning. He's not your normal, average, everyday campaigner. So when his people said that he was going home to Florida for some rest and relaxation, for some R&R, and to grab some clothes and not go to New Hampshire, when everybody else was going to New Hampshire, CNN should have stopped and said, well, here, this guy's already proven that he's not conventional. Instead, they measured him by the conventional stick or rod and said, well, this sounds like somebody who's getting out of the race. That was on CNN. After CNN said that, this did not come from Cruz. This came from CNN. Now, after CNN said that, people in the Rubio camp tweeted it. And they were basically saying it looks like Carson's going to be getting out. Now, here's the problem. It seems like everybody missed the Rubio camp tweets on that stuff. It only focused on Cruz. Why? Because Cruz's camp saw the Rubio stuff and said, hey, look, it's being reported that Carson's going to be getting out of the race. It's called the rumor mill. You know how that works. And since Cruz's camp was the last notable people to say it, they've been labeled with the blame. And then Cruz doubled the problem by apologizing for it. Now, yes, he's the bigger man. He's a Christian man, and I heard his apology. Basically, what he said, look, if we did that and we hurt Carson at all, I'm sorry. It wasn't our intent. So now the media is saying, see, that proves Cruz was guilty. And not only is the media saying that proves Cruz is guilty, but because the media says it proves Cruz is guilty, you Trumpites have jumped on the bandwagon and have accused Cruz of cheating. Do you know where you're getting this from? You're not getting it from Donald. You're getting this notion that Cruz cheated from CNN, the Clinton News Network. Do you people really realize that? Yeah, that's the whole case. That is the skinny as far as how I understand it right now. Again, hey, wait a couple hours, it could change. But it didn't matter. Do you know when all of this stuff came? It came out just as caucusing was started. In other words, nobody who was going to already vote and participate in the caucus could have possibly have heard that crap. They were already in the thick of it. It didn't come out at 12 noon and caucus started at 7. Do you folks realize that as well? Now, people have just got to stop this emotional crap and start really thinking about stuff logically and coming down logically about their decisions. Because this is really getting out. It's starting to look like a circus on the Republican side. And I'll tell you the one person who could cut this all off right now. The one person who could call for sanity and everybody would follow suit. That would be Donald Trump. If Donald Trump just said, you know what? We're going to investigate this and we're going to get to the bottom and see how this nasty rumor about Dr. Carson got started. And until then, we're not going to talk about it anymore. Do you realize if Trump did that, it would be the end of it? That would be the bigger man, by the way. That would be the bigger man. And it would be done. We'd get the full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to come out after that. And we could move on with the campaigns and move on into November to concentrate to moving on to November to beat Hillary or Bernie or whomever the hell the Democrats throw up there. Do you realize that this is a red herring? It is distracting. It is unnecessary. As much as I like Dr. Carson, there was no way in hell he was going to come in third, second, or first place in Iowa. His numbers of support just were not there. There was no need. Nobody benefited from that 1 percentage point. Do you understand that? Nobody benefited. Cruz was what, 4 points ahead of Trump in Iowa? I can guarantee you that even if Carson did lose 1% because of that fake story, it wasn't going to Trump. If anybody would have benefited from this, statistically speaking, it shows that Rubio would have been the benefactor, not Trump or Cruz. So this doesn't make any sense anymore. All this nonsense has got to stop. I know Donald is a huge Twitterer. But, I don't... somebody asked if somebody actually reviewed Trump's tweets before he tweeted them. Of course not. I do not believe anybody reviews anything for that man before he doesn't go through a committee or a person. He doesn't. Maybe he'll be laying in bed and say, "Hey, Melania, you think this will be funny if I tweeted it?" And she'll probably say, "Yeah, go ahead." That's his committee, if anybody. He's not going through a review process of before he tweets anything. Who would even come up with such a suggestion that Trump is being, is being monitored? He's not monitoring himself. No, don't get me. No. Look, I like Trump. I do. And I like Cruz. I do. I know that's. Wait a minute. You can't do that's like in the Red Sox and the Yankees at the same time, man. You can't like Trump and Cruz at the same time. I can hear it now. I like Rubio. I like Carson. I even like Fiorina, but she doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell right now. She doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning the nomination. If she were the nominee, I believe that she would kick Hillary's ass. But she doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell for the nomination. But I like her. But as I've stated before, I have major disagreements or major problems with each and every one of those 5 people. There is no perfect candidate. Each and every one of them also has strengths that the others really do not have. And so there's no. So you people who are rabid supporters of Trump and rabid supporters of Cruz, you guys have lost your. Now I am not talking about your regular everyday person who really likes a candidate that they like. I understand why some people are firmly in the Trump camp or on the Trump train. I can understand it. I can understand why some people are firmly on the Cruz train. I get it. But I'm going to call them out. But the rabid morons that are attacking other people who support other candidates has got to stop because you're acting moronic. You're setting yourself up for failure. Do you understand that? Let's face it. I don't care if you take everybody else out of the race. Let me be frank. The most rabid supporters that we have in this campaign right now are Trump and Cruz supporters. And they're giving Trump and Cruz a bad name to those who have not yet made up their mind. I don't know how many times I keep telling you this. You guys have got to give people a reason to vote for Cruz or vote for Trump. Instead, you rabid supporters are out there calling Cruz people names. You're calling other people who support other candidates stupid, idiots, dolts, what have you. You're out there running around like little itty-bitty children. Well, if my guy is not the nominee, I'm going to sit home and not vote. Well, yeah, bravo. And then Hillary or somebody. I even had one person tell me, well, it'll serve the nation right if we elect Clinton. Like, did that work with Obama? How childish can you be? Look, you know what, folks? CNN started this. They're not getting the blame. And the Republican top candidates are being played like a Stradivarius from the left. And you're allowing it to happen. Look, you're taking all the onus, all the pressure off the did you know the Democrats had a town hall meeting? You're taking all the sight off of Hillary and Bernie. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. I got all kinds of stuff on Hillary, but what is everybody talking about? Oh, did Cruz cheat in Iowa? Hello? Do you not see what's happening? I'm telling you right now, the Republican Party is being played like a Stradivarius by the leftists and the lamestream media. And you rabid supporters are falling right in line. I mean, I had the opportunity last night to listen to talk shows basically all day and all night long. And what I heard coming out of people's mouths over the radio waves, it made me sick. I could not believe what I was hearing. And then as a lot of the different talk show hosts started putting the pieces of the puzzle together, I started realizing what the hell was going on and how you people were being manipulated and you didn't know it and you didn't even care. That was the big thing. I mean, I heard on one show that the person called in, well, and the talk show was trying to explain, well, Cruz didn't start this. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was, well, maybe he didn't start it, but he sure as hell could have started it. Well, yeah, anybody could have started it. So why are you hating on Cruz because he could have started it? Are you listening to yourself? I mean, this sounds like something he could have started. Well, yeah, I could have started it. The point is that it doesn't matter woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's actually who did. So now they're moving. Some of you are trying to move away from Cruz being proven that he didn't do it, and you're upset about that. So you're going to go to the whole thing and say, oh, well, he could have started it. Really? This is just maddening. The problem is that you are doing exactly the same thing that you've accused liberals of doing for years. You're jumping to the gun. You're jumping the gun without all the facts, and you're coming up with a verdict. You don't even know anything. All you do, you just run around and you heard Trump blame Cruz. And so you automatically said, it's the Cruz people, man. Can't stand Cruz. He knew that they did that. He knew, and of course, Dr. Carson isn't helping anything by saying that Cruz should fire people in his camp. However, he did send out a letter. Cruz did send out a letter, Carson sent out a letter. And in that letter, he basically stated he put the blame on this whole mess on who? CNN. I don't hear anybody from the Rubio or Trump campaign talking about Carson's letter blaming CNN. Hello? Nobody's going to talk about Carson, what he thinks and what he says? Oh, no, that doesn't. Carson doesn't matter anymore, right? This is all about him, but he doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what he thinks. Doesn't matter what he says. I don't know. It doesn't matter about Carson anymore. This is not about Carson. This is about how evil Cruz is. How untrustworthy Cruz is. How Cruz cheated. He's just a mean hey, he's following the mantra. Didn't Donald Trump say that Cruz was nasty? He was a nasty man. Yeah, Cruz is just mean. He's nasty. This man, I tell you, it's just I look at this and I thought maybe that there was something that was wrong to begin with. When I first heard this, I'm thinking, why would Cruz do that? I'm thinking logically, why would Cruz do that? It makes absolutely no sense for Cruz to do that. But, we didn't have all the information, so I'm like, yeah, well, okay. Donald is out there saying that he did it. You got the tweet about him, I guess, somebody in his camp doing it. But nobody bothered to do something called to back it up and actually do an investigation before everybody started spouting off. And that's sad. I'm just going to hold off saying too much more about this until I am sure that they've got the information absolutely accurate. And the rest of you should do the same thing too, as well as you, especially you rabid Cruz and Trump supporters. You guys need to grow up yourselves, because you're the leaders of the people who support your candidates of choice. And you're the ones that are going to get those undecideds to come to your camp. But you're not doing it in the manner that's going to win.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars, all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571. Or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614. Bring the rain.
Now, let me just clear this up really quick. 603-835-3224. Let me clear this up by saying it is not the regular Trump and Cruz supporters that I have an issue with. And it's not those who are very strong in their support. Yeah, I've had a few callers here that are very strong, but they're not rabid. I haven't heard them call everybody else under the sun who doesn't support Trump names. There's nothing wrong with being a solid, firm, avid supporter of the candidate of your choice. Nothing wrong with it at all. Look, we all get that way when it comes to actually when the nominee is chosen. And look, you can call me an avid supporter of whoever the Republican nominee is going to be. Because for the race for president, there's no way in hell I'm voting for anybody on the left at this point. There's nobody there. There is no choice over there. I don't care who. Clinton, please. I got some stuff on her that'll make your toes curl. Sanders, but this whole notion that you've got the millennials who want to be socialists because they don't know jack crap is just beyond me. So yeah, I'm going to be a very solid Republican presidential candidate supporter in November. I'm not going to run around calling it. Well, if you sit at home and don't vote, and then try to complain about it later, I'm going to call you a total idiot because it's not calling you a name. It is what you actually are. If that's what you do. Well, don't call people names. Well, okay. I mean, I guess you're telling the truth about something, and that's calling somebody. Well, if somebody is mentally disabled, mentally retarded, and you call them retarded, is that calling them a name, or is that actually saying an actual fact about them? Well, it's an actual fact about them. If somebody's blind, is that all of a sudden derogatory? If you say you're blind, if somebody actually cannot see visually, is that calling them a name? No, it's a fact. So if you do something idiotic, it makes you an idiot. Is that calling you a name? No, it is pointing out a fact. If you do not vote simply because your candidate of choice was not nominated, you're doing something that is idiotic. Thus, it makes you an idiot. Not name calling, it's a fact. I often find it hard to believe that sometimes I have to explain that kind of stuff for people. Well, looking at our educational system nowadays, I mean, how else do you explain how you get the vast majority of apparent millennials who are paying attention to politics to want socialism. Oh, they just want free stuff. I want my free stuff. I want free college. I want free health. I don't want to pay for nothing. Nothing at all, man. I want it all for free. And then when I get out of college, you give me that 6-figure job. Oh, and don't think you're going to tax me because I ain't rich. You tax those rich people. You ain't taxing me because I ain't rich. And I still want it all for free. So I get free stuff and I get big money income because I'm a smart one, because I went to college that y'all paid for, not me. I'm going to sit back in my big old house and just live it up. Daily Wire. Here's the whole snippet as we have it so far from Daily Wire. And they're going daily. They've done something called a Twitter forensics, and they've done a good job. Now, whether or not they've got all the little interesting and nasty tidbits, I don't know. But this is what they've gotten so far. Daily Wire. Going through the myth, the polls show Cruz stole Iowa because of this Carson kerfuffle. Cruz outperformed the polls in Iowa by 3.8%. Sure, he got a bump. He did better than expected. However, Trump underperformed or did worse than expected according to polls by 4.3%. Maybe the Carson tweet stole some Trump support instead. Meanwhile, Marco Rubio outperformed the Real Clear Politics poll by 6.2%. Well, we now know that the Rubio camp were the first ones to tweet the CNN crap. So maybe Cruz didn't benefit. Maybe it was Rubio. How about Ben Carson, who actually did better than the Real Clear Politics polls said he would do by nearly 2%? Wait a minute. I thought Cruz stole Carson votes. Well, Daily Wire is reporting that the Real Clear Politics polls, that Dr. Carson's actual finish and vote numbers are nearly 2% higher than what was expected. So, if you actually look at the numbers, let me continue. Let me finish this. How about Trump wasn't the only candidate who significantly underperformed the poll expectations? Bush underperformed by 1.3%. Huckabee underperformed by 1.3%. Kasich underperformed by 1%. Oh, maybe Cruz picked up some of that. Maybe Carson picked up some of that. Maybe Carson picked up some of Trump's numbers, because Trump underperformed by 4%, remember. They had to go somewhere. Remember, we had a record number of Republicans go out there and vote. Both Cruz and Trump got record numbers of support in the caucus. Do you understand that? I mean, the actual numbers of people going out there to caucus was in record number territory. Both Cruz and Trump got record numbers of votes. But Trump still underperformed what was expected based on the number of people who came out and voted. It was a huge turnout. So maybe Cruz stole some of the Trump support because he tweeted that Carson was getting out of the race. Does that make any sense? So, but Trump wasn't the only one to lose. So they continue on the Daily Wire. So the Cruz press release stole votes from Ben Carson. That's the myth. here are the facts. And Daily Wire lists timestamps. The Ben Carson campaign suspension rumor came from CNN, and that rumor originated with the Carson campaign. Trevor Loudon puts together the full timeline, I might add, as we currently know it. So if you go over to Trevor Loudon to get the timeline, for those of you who don't know, Trevor Loudon is an Aussie. He's a conservative Australian patriot, and he often tours. He writes conservative books. He often tours and gives speeches here in the United States, warning us about our unnecessary trip down the path of socialism and governmentism, big governmentism, because Australia kind of does that. And he doesn't want to see Americans go down the same road. It's amazing how other countries, like England and Spain, people from Spain and Australia, New Zealand, how they care so much about the United States government. I mean, they don't want us to make the same mistakes they make. And I've actually interviewed Trevor Loudon here on this program. He's a genuine guy. And for you ladies who like that Aussie accent, yeah, he's got but I think he just recently got married. Did I hear that rumor? He got married to an American gal, not an Aussie gal. And I've seen a picture of. I think she was a reporter, or is a reporter. And if I remember, if the picture that I have in my head of her, she's a very pretty lady. Now you got to understand, Trevor Loudon. Well, he's an Aussie, and Aussies are kind of like related to British, and they're not often thought of as being beautiful people, if you will. Doesn't mean that there aren't some that are absolutely knockout gorgeous on both sexes, I guess. But he's an average-looking guy. And from what I remember of his, if I do believe that they got married, his now wife, who's an American journalist, who's also a conservative journalist, which is really kind of, that's odd too. So wait, he's a conservative Aussie warning Americans about going into socialism. He comes here, meets a smart, beautiful, conservative journalist. Those are four words that aren't supposed to go together, right? Yeah, well, okay. So he's got one. Good on you, Trevor. But Trevor Loudon tries to put together this timeline and with time stamps on all of this. And this stuff goes into, you want to talk about a wicked web we weave here. But this was also posted in an article form about the Carson suspension on Business Insider. Now, let's go briefly through the breakdown. Let's go through a summary, because let me tell you, Loudon has an extensive, and I'll give you a link on rodeccles.net so you can read all this stuff yourself, especially you rabid Cruz and Trump supporters. And are there any rabid? I haven't heard of any rabid Rubio supporters. And I find it very interesting that you people who just love Trump and think Trump is the greatest thing since sliced bread, is the only person who can do anything, how all of a sudden now you're defending Ben Carson? Hey, what? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I know Ben Carson's a nice guy. He's a lovable guy. I don't think there's a single. Well, you could probably count the number of people that dislike Ben Carson as a person, probably on one hand. I don't know, but he seems to be that kind of a guy that everybody that meets him and talks to him just falls in love with him. Okay, I get it. He's a great surgeon, probably a wonderful person. He's a God-fearing man. He's a God-fearing man, so I guess that's the one thing not to like about him. But other than that, what's not to like about the man? I mean, it's you want to get mad at somebody, and you want to get mad at Carson, and he's talking to you. It's that meek, not weak with a W, meek with an M, that meek persona just disarms everybody. No, hey, look, maybe I don't know, maybe Putin. If you put him up against Putin, Putin would also get that. What's the Shrek? Cat in Boots, Puss in Boots. When he does the those big eyes, he takes off his hat and does those big kitty puppy dog eyes. Who can't like that? I mean, even when cats do that, or when dogs give you that look, even if you're a cat or a dog hater, it's very difficult for you to not say, "Aw." Well, it's the same thing with Carson. When he's talking to you, he's very disarming, and it's very difficult not to say, "I just love you, Dr. Carson." It's hard to say that about when you're in front of him and talking to him. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. So I don't why, but I don't understand all of a sudden this tremendous support for Carson when it wasn't there before. Is it simply because people think that somebody tried to cheat him out of something? I don't know, but here's the timeline. Here's a brief summary of it. As Daily Wire puts it together, as they get it from a more extensive report from Trevor Loudon. CNN reported at approximately 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time that Carson was going home to Florida after Iowa. Now, Representative Steve King of Iowa, a Cruz supporter, tweeted that everyone in the political world was thinking Carson tweeted what everyone in the political world was thinking at that time. And he said, quote, "Carson looks like he's out. Iowans need to know before they vote. Most will go Cruz, I hope." At 5:08 p.m., CNN itself tweeted, after the Iowa caucus at Real Ben Carson plans to take a break from campaigning. A Cruz staffer then told precinct captains, after CNN tweeted it, a Cruz staffer then told precinct captains, breaking news, the press is reporting that Dr. Carson is taking time off from the campaign trail after Iowa and making a big announcement next week. Please inform any Carson caucus goers of this news and urge them to caucus for Ted Cruz. Look, when you hear that somebody's about to drop out of the race, you are going to want to gather there and gain their support. Rubio did that with Santorum. Who did Santorum back when at the same time that he announced that he was dropping out? Who did he give his support to? Rubio. This happens all the time. That's not cheating. That's called politics. Now, apparently Rubio, but we haven't heard this one before. Apparently Rubio also pushed the narrative hard that Carson was dumping out of the race, according to a tweet from Conrad Close, who identifies as a Rubio supporter. Cruz has apologized for the screw-up. Rubio has not. Now, late night when our political team saw the CNN post saying that Dr. Carson was not carrying on to New Hampshire and South Carolina, our campaign updated grassroots leaders just as we would with any breaking news story. It's fair game because they didn't start the rumor. It came off of CNN, which was inadvertently started by the Carson camp itself. Do you understand that? Simply by Carson being unconventional and doing something that is very Dr. Carson, but not very standard political practice or campaign practice, he got to making everybody thinking, well, Carson's not going to New Hampshire. He's going home to Florida. Nobody does that. He's getting out of the race. That has to be the only thing. Because every time somebody does that, in the past. What we've gotten pretty soon after that is that they're dropping out. So all these wonderful people are forgetting that Carson is unconventional because he's a rookie at this game, and that he's done unconventional stuff during this campaign in the recent past. They put all that aside, don't even think about it, and just assume that all of a sudden now he's being conventional and simply going home to Florida and skipping New Hampshire. Again, I know that is really unconventional. Who the hell skips New Hampshire? That doesn't make any sense, right? So you would think. So everybody's out there saying, well, geez, if he's doing this, the conventional wisdom is he's quitting. And they put it out there. And all these other camps are saying, well, geez, Carson's got some really good support. He's got a number of supporters, man. We gotta jump on this. We gotta try to persuade the Carson voters and supporters to come on over to our camp because he's dropping out, so their vote's going to be wasted if they go to him right now. So you got Cruz and Rubio out there pushing, Rubio pushing hard to get the Carson voters behind Rubio, and you know why? Because Cruz's camp was the last, according to timestamps so far. Cruz's camp was the last camp to tweet about Carson dropping out. So of course they're going to get the blame. Because Americans have become so quick to judgment, so shallow, that they do not care about the evidence. It's whatever they see in front of them at that particular point in time. That has to be the unadulterated, 100% truth, no questions asked. Until somebody shows them more evidence, and then they're like, well, Cruz still did it. Well, evidence points the other way. It doesn't matter. We already made our decision. Cruz did it. Again, I'm not supporting Cruz in this. I'm only supporting the truth, the facts. That's all. I don't particularly care who started what when. I just want to know the truth. And when the truth is known, then we can make our decision on what we should be doing about the truth. Not on hysteria, not on hyperbole, not based on rumor, not based on shadows. No, this is... And now you've got the voter violation certificate. The media made a ridiculously big deal over a normal campaign mailer that Cruz campaign sent out this year in Iowa. So did the Iowa Secretary of State. The mailer says election alert, voter violation, further action needed. And it says you are receiving this election notice because of low expected voter turnout in your area. Your individual voting history as well as your neighbors are public record. Their scores are published below. This was coming from Cruz, and everybody thought, well, geez, Cruz is out there saying that it's a violation not to vote. It was a headline. It grabbed people's attention. And then it went on to say it was about expected low voter turnout. Now, I don't know who was actually expecting low voter turnout. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that letter actually helped to bring out more people to vote, which broke records out in Iowa. Is that a bad thing? No, I would love for the United States to hit 75% election participation, voter participation, informed voters. I would love that. Because then it would take away, one of the things that Democrats often say, and Obama was very big about saying this. Well, I'm here to support all those voters who didn't vote. Well, if they didn't vote, then how can they be a voter if they didn't vote? Well, they can't be a voter if they didn't vote. But that's what they say all the time. So this whole notion that somehow Cruz is the only one who cheated and that Donald is saying, well, I'm going to sue. I mean, this is ridiculous. There were a lot of players in this tremendous misunderstanding simply because of who Dr. Carson is. Nothing more. Look, the Carson camp didn't do anything wrong. By telling everybody, well, he's going home to Florida to take a few days. CNN really didn't do anything wrong by reporting it and then viewing it from the conventional lens of what everybody else previous to Dr. Carson has done when they've done something like that. Drop out. Everybody jump to conclusions. That's fine. Now it's time to realize that, quit the childish antics, move on, act like adults, and let's get this thing on the road.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the Tax Doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Welcome back to all of you wonderful liberty lovers around the world and all of you wonderful ecclesiastites. Thank you for being here and listening to me, your lovable host, El Rod, who, by the way, is still broadcasting live from his bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. News alert. The bunkerized home studio may, in the near future, be put on hiatus. No. Before everybody goes off the deep end and, slits their throats and jumps off cliffs and everything. Rod, I know some people are saying, well, that means Rod's going off the air. He's quitting. Oh, my God, Rod. No, I'm not. What I'm working on, as I have said before, this program is continuing to grow and grow and grow thanks to all of you wonderful listeners, because without you listening, then there would be no room for it to grow, as it were. But working on bringing the show to full syndication. Because right now, we're in basically self-syndication mode, and we're broadcasting. Oh, I don't know what the last count is. 10, 12 different networks. And I think one of the networks has one or two of the networks. I think it's two now. I think two of the networks have a terrestrial radio footprint. The rest are internet based networks, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because that is the way radio is actually going. Internet radio is the radio of the future, and the future is kind of starting today. But we are working on full syndication, not self-syndication, but full syndication. And in order to do that, it means I need a regular terrestrial studio. We're getting close to inking some deals. So if that's the case, if we're actually able to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, then I won't be broadcasting from the bunkerized home studio. I'll be broadcasting from some non-bunkerized terrestrial radio studio. We haven't, like I said, the deal is not complete yet, but just inform. I don't like to just give total surprises. I like to lead people into what is going on here. And that's one of the things that we're working on. Plus, we're a bunch of other things that we're working on. 2016 is going to be a big year. I can feel it. And if it's not, then it's one of the rare times that I am wrong. But we're working diligently and working hard to make this even better, a better listening experience for you, the listener, because after all, you're the only ones in the end that count. You're really the only ones that count. You drive everything. If you don't listen or more listeners don't join in, then it's a moot point. None of this really matters. That's the whole point. To get people to listen. Get people to start thinking because of what I or somebody else on this program happens to say. Now, how does somebody else get to say something on this program? Well, easy. You just call in 603-835-3224. That is a call-in number. Call in live. Now, I've noticed that I've been getting voicemails on the call-in line. And I'm figuring that this is probably due to the fact that this program, some of our syndicators, replay this at a later time period. We only accept calls while we're live, 9 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday. We don't accept calls on Saturday. We don't accept calls at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. Nobody's manning manning would be me. Nobody's manning the studio hotline then. So, 603-835-3224 is really only live and manned between the hours of 9 a.m. and noon Eastern time for all of those wonderful ecclesiastites who happen to pick up the show and listen to it at a later broadcast that is broadcast later. Isn't that? That's a tongue twister. Later in the day or in the evening. And I know that there are some networks here that I do believe there's a couple that play it live, but they also then replay the same show later that day or in the evening. I'm flattered by that, and I love that. That's great. But just be aware that, because some people are probably saying, well, you don't take calls. Well, I do, but only 9 to noon. I don't take calls at, 4 in the afternoon because what good's that going to do? We're only, nobody's going to hear you. I'm not on the air. just so don't get, look, I can't be on the air 24 hours a day. I probably have enough to say and talk about for 24 hours a day, but, I just can't do that. And I can't do 6 hours a day. You know what? Somebody ought to make I don't know. Maybe that would be too much. Because what is our workday here? Our workday is 8 hours. And usually a part-time shift is half of that, 4 hours. I can't see myself doing a 4-hour show, but can you imagine if somebody actually did a full workday show, 8 hours? You go to work at 9 to 5. That's when they They well, when did they take lunch? Would they have to be 8:30 to 5:30? Because have you noticed that since the 70s, American companies have moved away from the paid lunch? There are still some companies that do that. Noon to 1, everybody's, the office is basically closed out. Everybody goes to lunch. But now it seems like we've done it. You get either a half hour, but it's unpaid. So you work 8:30 to 5, or you get an hour unpaid, and you work either 8 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30. Now, when I worked for another company called PC Connection, that's exactly what they did. We got an hour unpaid lunch, but our start hour was 8:30 a.m., and our quitting time was 5:30 p.m. So you get that hour of lunch, but you're still getting a full 8 hours of work out of your employees when you do that. Now, I don't know if they still do that, but when I was there, that's what they did. And I'm sure they probably still have it that way. And a lot of companies do it that way. What I don't understand is companies only giving you a half hour. I mean, do you realize how fast you have to scarf your food for a half hour break? Because it takes you time to get to the cafeteria or to get wherever you're going to get your food. So by the time you get your food and you get it cooked and prepared and all that kind of stuff, microwave, nuked, all, and you sit down, you probably lost 10 or 15 minutes. So you really don't even get a chance to enjoy anything. I would encourage, and I know because I'm about to say encourage, that somebody on the left is going, or the center is going to think, yeah, there should be a law. It should be government mandated. No, it should not. I would encourage companies. And I never understood why blue collar industry is. Yeah, I've worked blue collar jobs, and what I've always thought about blue collar jobs, which was unfair, is that the blue collar people get a half hour unpaid lunch, but the office white collar always got an hour. Why? Because the blue collar doesn't need to eat as much as the white collar or something? It doesn't need as much downtime? I never understood the mentality behind that other than, blue collar versus white collar thing. But I would like to encourage all companies, if you have an unpaid lunch schedule, make it an hour. Give people time to relax and actually slowly enjoy their food. If you want healthier employees, studies have shown that you get, just like the stupid studies out there in Northern Europe, it says 6 hour day is better than an 8 hour day, which now that they're putting into practice, most companies are finding that not to be true over there. But studies have shown that when you have a chance to break up your day, you're more productive. And that an hour break, because some European countries, they actually take a 2 hour break because they get time for a nap in the middle of the day. Now, I'm not saying that we add that, although there are some companies that have sleeping couches where you can take a 10 or 15 or 20 minute nap. And you're really not supposed to take more than 20 minutes. If you sleep more than 20, if you nap more than 20 minutes, you will end up being groggy and sleepy and lethargic the rest of the day. And look, I've often found that. Last night I went to bed at nearly 3 a.m. And this morning I'm up to be ready for you at 7 a.m. That happens to me a lot. Now, sometimes in the middle of the afternoon, I will find myself just out of energy, dead tired. Next thing I know, I've nodded off for 10 minutes. And then I wake up and I'm like fully refreshed, tons of energy, just like it was the morning all over again, and I'm ready to go. So there have been extensive studies that have shown that people, if they take a 10 to 20 minute nap in the middle of the day, it's the equivalent of taking like caffeine or something. But the best part is that somehow it not only makes you alert and more energetic, but it also improves cognitive function of your brain. Don't know why. I don't think cavemen had time to take a nap in the middle of the day. They were too busy trying to survive all the time. You went to sleep at night when it was dark, when all the animals that could possibly kill you and eat you went to sleep. Not during the day when they were up and hunting, and not during the day when you should have been up and hunting so you could eat. But evidently that's the way humans are, physiology works best, is with not a 2 hour nap. But But again, there have been studies that have shown that a 1 hour break, lunch break, is more effective, more conducive to a number of different factors that improve performance, improve production than a 30-minute break, half-hour break. So I would encourage companies to really rethink. If you're only giving your employees 30 minutes, I would encourage you to rethink the hour. And trust me, a lot of employees would not mind starting a half hour earlier or staying a half hour later if they had an hour break in between. So the 8:30 to 5:30 thing is not a bad idea. Not to mention, you would kind of be saving your employees a little bit of headache from rush hour, because rush hour always starts it's worse right there at 5. Unless, of course, you're in major metropolitan areas like Boston. And I remember when I worked in Boston, I thought I'd try to beat the traffic home. Well, I was an outside salesperson. So I thought, well, I'm going to leave early. Call the day early. Leave at 3. You can't. Rush hour in Boston is like from 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. The traffic is terrible. And I know that there are municipalities, probably like L.A. I've never driven in L.A., but, New York City is probably just as bad or worse. But, and Atlanta, Georgia. I have driven in Atlanta. Atlanta, they're you know what? Atlanta spent billions of dollars improving their traffic infrastructure that goes in and around the city. And the last time I was driving in Atlanta, Georgia, they had just finished construction. It looked beautiful. It was all wonderful how they did it. In fact, it was so wonderful that the planners and engineers of Boston's Big Dig went down to Atlanta to study how Atlanta did it. Now, the problem with Atlanta is that last time I drove in Atlanta, it was after they had finished Atlanta's Big Dig, although it wasn't a tunnel, but call it the Big Dig. And rush hour traffic that I got caught in Atlanta was worse than rush hour traffic in Boston after Atlanta spent billions of dollars. And this is the kind of thing that the Bostonian engineers decided to take back to Boston when they designed the Boston Big Dig. And guess what? The Boston Big Dig, the traffic is worse than before the Big Dig. In other words, well, I'm glad they did it, because it would have been absolutely outrageous if they didn't do it. But the problem is that they spent billions of dollars over budget to give us something that didn't work. And the problem is that when they got halfway through the project, they did more studies, and they realized that by the time they finished the Big Dig, that the Big Dig project would be outdated. And indeed, they did not relieve the congestion. The congestion is still as bad after the Big Dig as before the Big Dig. Now, I realize that if they did not do the Big Dig, that it would be much worse. But that's no excuse for not getting it right. When you spent all that money and you went billions of dollars over budget. I mean, think about this. This is what the government told that when they sold this construction project to the people of Massachusetts. They told them it was going to cost X billions of dollars. I think the original price tag was somewhere around $5 or $6 billion. By the time they got done, the last count that I saw, the Big Dig is costing the taxpayer $21 billion. And yes, believe it or not, there have been some people who have been fired and have gone to jail and gone to trial and all that kind of stuff for some graft and, fraud and all that kind of wonderful stuff. But you got to wonder, when the cost was escalating out of sight and out of control, you would have thought that somebody would have stood back and said, hold on, wait a minute, let's rethink this whole thing. We told the people that it was only going to cost X amount, and right now it's way over that X amount, and it's now at Z amount. Or excuse me, it's at Y amount. And by the time we get done with this, if it keeps going this way, it's going to be Z amount, which is far from X. I don't know. Actually, to me, it would seem like that that the final price tag, if the original price tag was at A, then the final price tag would be at Z. Do you see the big, huge gap there? Yeah, that's a big difference. But that's government for you. And you know what? Massachusetts is a liberal state. You ever notice how all these wonderful liberal states, they always have these tremendous, not only do they have cost overruns, any construction project will tell you that you should build in 5 to 10% for cost overruns because you run into things that you cannot plan for or did not expect. So when you remodel your house, they always tell you to add, pad it by an extra 5 or 10% because, you're going to go in and you're going to find a problem that you didn't know about, that you could not have foreseen. They did, especially if you're remodeling. You never know. If you're building something new, you think you've done everything you can to plan, and before you know it, you start digging, and then you realize, well, we just missed this huge granite boulder that we can't dig it out. We have to use explosives to blow it out. Well, that adds cost. That happens because you didn't see it. You didn't see that happening. So, that kind of thing happens. And that's still with government projects, too. You got to build in a certain padding amount for unexpected expenses. But I don't know about you, but 10% of $5 billion does not mean you add another $15 or $16 billion. That's not 5 or 10%. Yeah, that's just insanity. But you ever notice how these types of cost overruns, not all the time, mind you, but generally speaking, most of the time, these types of huge cost overruns happen in liberal-run states. That's the truth, folks. That is the unfortunate truth. Unbelievable. Hey, there is more about this Hillary, or excuse me, more about this Iowa stuff. Now, understand, Republicans are not the only one that have an Iowa caucus scandal. Surprise, surprise, surprise. There's also a scandal on the left side. Now, you can understand that because there are so many people involved in the primaries on the Republican side that there are going to be some unhappy campers. Because you can't please everybody all the time, right? Well, what do we when we had 10, 12 people over there? We're down to 9 now, I think, right? Should probably go down that list. Who's still left in the race? You have Cruz, Trump, and this is in no particular order of favoritism. I'm just going down the line as I can remember them, and I'm trying to also put them in their as close as I possibly can remember them in their order of finishing. In Iowa, you have Cruz, Trump, Rubio, Carson, Fiorina, Kasich, Christie, Bush. Who's left? Who'd I miss? Well, that's 8, but I think there's still 9 in the race. Who'd I miss? Well, who cares? They obviously don't really matter. Because we just had Santorum and Paul drop out of the race. Oh, and Huckabee just dropped out. Now, didn't Huckabee throw his support behind somebody? At this particular point, I cannot remember. I do believe that I think he put his support behind Cruz. It would make sense because Huckabee is an evangelical like Cruz. But I do know that Santorum gave his support to Rubio. However, NPR did a fact check on this reported coin toss in Iowa that gave Hillary 6 delegates. Now NPR, just remind, this is NPR, but NPR says coin toss fact check. No coin flips did not win Iowa for Hillary Clinton. They're reporting, NPR is reporting Hillary Clinton got lucky Monday night. She got very, very, very lucky. Now, some have attributed her squeaker of a victory over Bernie Sanders in Iowa, the Iowa Democratic presidential caucuses, as an improbable lucky streak of tie-breaking coin tosses. It's been reported that there were many as 6 sites where ties were decided by the flip of a coin, and Clinton won every single one of them. Now, I also found that very hard to believe. The odds of that happening are 1 in 64 or less than 2%. What's more, that gave her just slightly more than her margin of victory over Sanders' 4 delegates. Things that make you go, what is going on over there? Now, first of all, it doesn't matter that Clinton got slightly more votes. You have to understand, this is a huge loss for her. There is no way in hell Bernie Sanders should have been that close to her in Iowa. I mean, I just saw a poll. These polls are going all over the place, but I think that there was a recent poll that had Sanders up 39 points over Clinton here in New Hampshire, going into Tuesday's primary. As much as 39 points above Clinton. She better, this does not bode well for the person who is, considered to be the perfect person for the Democratic candidate. This was supposed to be hers. We promised you it last time, Hillary, in 2008, but then we changed our mind and gave it to Barack. But this time, Hillary, it's all you. It's yours. We promise. And trust me, they have done everything, including backflips, to try to make this a reality for her. In spite of her legal troubles. And I got some news about her legal troubles. And I'm not even talking about Emailgate. There's some stuff that's coming to haunt her from her recent past. Not too distant. Well, I guess maybe it is distant past. It is distant past. But there's some bad stuff. Bad stuff. That now that she's trying, and they're saying that it's, other people are trying to keep it out of the news and keep it out of the courts and that kind of thing. And really, it's her that's trying to keep all that stuff hidden because it's bad for her. Things are just going from bad to, you know what? How old is this woman? She's already like 68 years old. She might as well just save herself the extra gray hairs and the extra wrinkles and just call it a day and say, and just tell Bill, well, I guess we're not getting back in the White House ever again. It was fun for 8 years, Bill, but we're not going to get another 4 or 8. And just call it a day. I mean, do you realize what she's putting herself and her family through with all of this stuff? She's got to be ruining any chances of Chelsea doing anything in the public. I mean, she's totally throttling her daughter. Not that really matters, because I would never want Chelsea to be anywhere near an elected office. But now, here's some proof, and watch one of these coin toss tiebreakers in a video that NPR supposedly has. But it's also a thing done by Univision reporter Fernando Pinado. Peinado. Hopefully I pronounced it correct. At a Casas precinct. Fernando Pinado. Except that this video showing a coin toss, according to NPR, isn't the whole story. Nope, not the whole story. And I don't know why it's not the whole story, or how it's possible for it not to be the whole story when it is the whole story. Did they have a coin toss or not? But we'll get into the whole story right after this.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571. Or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
And welcome back once again to the Rod Eccles Show. 603-835-3224. There you go. One of the things about the Hillary Bernie, during the break, I'm just going over some of my tweet responses, people tweeting me at me. Yeah, by the way, if you guys are missing some stuff if you're not following me on Twitter, or you don't join the Facebook fan page, or you don't plus me over there on Google Plus, and what is it? You don't Pinterest me at Pinterest, I guess. I don't know, but you need to. I'm easy to find. Just search Rod Eccles Show on any of them. Twitter at Rod Eccles. Pretty simple, pretty easy. But going through it, there's person, he's his emoticon is whatever you want to call it, is a Bernie Sanders sign, and he's trying to take me to task on this whole notion about it's on Bernie's taxes. Well, hey, if you make $10 million and Bernie taxes half of it, you could still have a pretty good life at $5 million. You don't need $10 million. Who deserves to earn $10 million? Like, what are you? Who are you? How superior of you to determine somebody else's lifestyle and to determine what is excessive or not? I don't know how many times I have to go over this type of BS with people. The rich employ people. They do not hoard. If they make $10 million, they do not hoard that $10 million. They spend it. They invest it. And by investing and spending it, they're employing other people. How many people would lose their jobs if rich people could not buy yachts? Because the first thing on the surface, the only thing that liberals think about is you don't need a yacht that big. You don't need a boat that big. How come you get to have a boat that big and nobody else does? Well, they don't look at the fact that it takes 100 people making $30,000 to $60,000 a year, middle class, to build and maintain those boats every year. And that if the rich, who are the only ones who can afford those big boats, stop buying them, then all those people in that boat factory making $30,000 to $60,000 a year on average would be out of a job. So you take away half their income in taxes because you're jealous that they make $10 million and that they should only have $5 million instead. Well, when they get to the $5 million, they realize they can't afford that big boat. So you get all of these people around the country who make $10 million, who no longer can buy these big yachts and big boats and who can no longer afford to keep them and maintain them. So all those people who build and maintain those yachts are now out of a job because Bernie Sanders and you have decided that nobody should earn that kind of money. And if you do, the government is going to confiscate it. It's not taxes. Taxes are utilized to run the just operations of a just government. When you go beyond taxes, you start confiscating people's wealth. That is stealing. I do not care what else you call it. The real term is stealing. If your tax rate means that all you need to do to tax is 5%, but you tax 6% because you want to make some sort of sociological statement, you've just stolen from your people. Our government is stealing our income. And then they're going and spending way more than that than they're collecting. And Bernie wants to continue that tradition. Oh, we're going to save so much money over here, and we're going to make so much money. We're going to raise $20 trillion in taxes. But we're going to increase our spending. Our annual budget is going to be 20 or 21 or $22 trillion. So, but we can do that forever. Because I'm Bernie Sanders, and I'm an angry, grumpy Uncle Curmudgeon. You better believe it. Still can't get over that people are not paying attention to his ads. Not one ad specifically. I'm going to break up the banks. Will they like me? No. Will they begin to play by the rules of our president? You better believe it. Well, it's not the president's rules, Bernie. It's called the Constitution. It's the Constitution's rules. The Constitution's rules say the president doesn't get to make the rules. Literally. Whatever happened to, remember when we were kids and people, somebody tried to tell you what to do? What did you always say? You're not the boss of me. How come Americans don't turn around to the government and say, you're not the boss of me? We got fools like this guy who love Bernie Sanders, who goes around saying that, if he's president, people are going to follow his rules. I mean, hello? Chris Rock. Remember when Chris Rock said that Obama was our boss? Like, where do these people come from? And when I heard Chris Rock say that, I'm like, Chris, please shut up. I happen to like, I happen to like the Madagascar movies. He plays the donkey. Or no, I'm not. I'm sorry. He plays the zebra. Donkeys from Shrek, and that's Eddie Murphy. Why is it that, hey, Hollywood, why is it that black people are playing the roles of basically jackasses in these cartoons? I mean, sir, Eddie Murphy's the donkey in Shrek. Chris Rock is the zebra, another horse, in the Madagascar movies. What? I just put that together. But isn't that kind of interesting? And of course, but Hollywood isn't racist, right? No, Hollywood. Oh man, you know what? I know I know I tick off people. I get the emails and the tweets and the posts and stuff like that from people, and it's just it's a beautiful thing actually. It really is, because it means that if you piss somebody off, it means that sometimes you're actually telling them the truth and they don't like it. So it's kind of like the Jada Pinkett thing, the Jada Pinkett Smith and the Oscars. Look, you got a lot of people over in the Oscars that are just so mad at the Smiths, the Mr. and Mrs. Will Smith, and a few others that have backed them on this. But the reality is, not that I even really care about the Oscars, because I don't. But the reality is the reason why everybody is so ticked off at Will and Jada is because they spoke the truth about Hollywood hypocrisy. I heard something. Who was it? Was it Tom? Was it Tom Barry? It was late last night, so forgive me if I can't remember the exact host. But now that it comes to mind, or maybe it was Mark Levin. But in any case, I was listening to all kinds of people yesterday. It was just something that I had to do, just to try to get a handle on a lot of this other stuff that's been going on, especially in Iowa. But the whole point is that somebody was calling in and talking about this very notion about Hollywood being liberal run and racist, and that because Hollywood was run by liberals. It was about Obama. Them talking about Obama going to that Baltimore mosque yesterday, and one of the stupid, inane things that Obama said in his speech at the mosque was that there need to be more Muslim characters on TV shows that aren't related to national security. In other words, what he was saying is there needs to be more Muslim characters on TV that aren't terrorists, basically. And somebody was pointing out that Hollywood is run by liberals, so you would think that they would have more characters. But then somebody else at another talk show went down a list of Muslim characters on some top viewed TV programs already. But this person that called in said, well, Hollywood black people weren't in movies or on TV for a long period of time. And the host responded, you're right. That is absolutely correct. Hollywood is racist, run by liberals. And that if conservatives had run Hollywood from the beginning, you probably would have had blacks and Latinos in movies and on TV in major roles a lot sooner than there were. And what Jada Pinkett pointed out in this past Oscar cycle, there were some highly acclaimed black actors and highly acclaimed black roles and black movies that were snubbed. Now, I didn't see all these, so I couldn't tell you if the movies were actually good or not good. But if you just pay attention to all the so-called reviews and all the so-called accolades that these things were getting, and you pay attention to all the movies that did get the nod for the Oscars or nominations, a lot of them didn't seem to get the same accolades as some of these, like Selma. And what's the name of the actor that played Dr. Martin Luther King in Selma? That's all you heard about for like a month and a half was Selma. Selma this and Selma, and how great the movie was, and how great the acting was, and how believable. And it was just Dr. King came to life on the movie screen. And nothing in Oscar time. Nothing. And everybody just knew that Concussion was Will Smith's time for an Oscar nod. Nothing. In other movies that got less accolades and people did not praise the acting in it as much, they got the nod. So Jada, rightfully so or not, but apparently looking at the surface said, wait a minute, this is the second year in a row that this has happened. And, Hollywood talks about being all-inclusive and open and that, accepting and all that kind of stuff. But this is the second year in a row that they have locked out any people of color in their nominations in all the major categories. And basically what she said is you guys in Hollywood are hypocrites. It's the truth. They know it. That's why they got mad about it. Now, you can say what you want about Will and Jada, and I have said plenty of negative stuff about those two, about some of their political positions. But in this particular point, Jada, rightfully so, pointed out the hypocrisy of the left in Hollywood, and they got mad at her for pointing that out. And you have some conservative black people who are pointing out the fact that Jada really is talking out two sides of her mouth, both sides of her mouth when she's trying to point out the hypocrisy in Hollywood when she's participated in it. So in and of itself, I guess what they were saying, calling out Jada for being a hypocrite on calling out the hypocrisy. Again, those people who were calling out Jada on her hypocrisy were being blasted and lambasted. Why? Because they were right. Because they participated in this type of stuff that they're now say that they don't like, and they've taken all of that. How much is Will Smith worth now? He's like $100 million or something. He's taken all of that money from what? Racist, liberal white people. And now he wants to bash them? Come on, he's known it all along. So is Jada. So why is it now different? It's different. I'll tell you why it's different for Jada now. It's different because her husband, her hubby, her partner in crime, and from what I understand, I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't care, but from what I understand, they have an open marriage. But her partner in crime, not really crime, but got snubbed for something that everybody said that he should have gotten rewarded for. And she could the only thing that she could think of, in this particular case happens to be the truth, was the color of his skin. I mean, she may have come to the right conclusion with using the wrong logic. Well, that wouldn't be logic if it was wrong. It'd be illogic. She came to the right conclusion for the wrong reasons. I guess that's why new math works for some people. You can get the right answer, but you don't have to figure out the problem. Any case, back to the Clinton-Sanders debacle. There were at least a dozen tiebreakers, evidently, in Iowa. Can you do a Tim Allen and go, Yeah, a dozen tiebreakers. I miss that program. I love Tim the Tool Man Taylor. Home Improvement was hilarious. Love that program. Where are all the sons now? None of them are doing anything, are they? Well, didn't Terra Noah is still alive, but didn't he get into drugs too or something? I don't know. Or was that Zachary, the oldest one? Who was the kid, Zachary something that played the oldest one? Because the middle son was the heartthrob thing that never really grew up. He's a midget now, or so. Well, he's not a midget, but he's short. He dropped out of acting. No, he's been on Tim Allen's new show. That's where I've seen him. He's been on Last Man Standing. He's actually, Tim Allen's pretty funny. He's brought back there's a lot of innuendos to his movies and his old TV show on that particular program, and they're perfectly in context and they're funny as hell. And he's brought back at least 3 of the characters from Home Improvement. From that show, and have been on. Patricia Richards, who played his wife on Home Improvement, was on for a few episodes on his new show last season, and she made reference to her because she was a widow on the new show, and she made reference to her husband, who fancied himself as being somebody who was good with tools but was terrible with tools. In other words, it was basically a total play and rip on Tim, even though the characters' names were not the same. But anyway, I like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I know. Sometimes entertainment makes... I have simple entertainment stuff. What did some people say? Yeah. Well, you're probably thinking, where the hell is Rod going with this? And how did he get off on that tangent? I used to have a T-shirt that said "easily distracted," by the way. So you got to learn how to keep up with me, because my mind works in 50,000 different directions at the same time, and sometimes they all come out at the same time. So those of you who've listened for a while, you fully understand that, and you're on board with it. Those of you who are new, you're probably thinking that this guy cannot stay on one topic for very long at all. No, it's not ADD or ADHD. It's just I'm easily distracted. Because thoughts just come to my head, and I think about other stuff that makes sense, actually, to what the point that I'm trying to make in the first place. Usually. Not always, but usually. But what you have here is tiebreakers in Iowa. And quite frankly, I don't know where I was going with the Tim Allen stuff when it comes to tiebreakers. There was a point. I know there was a point, but I lost the point. There were at least a dozen tiebreakers. A dozen. And Senator Sanders won at least a handful, said an Iowa Democratic Party official who relayed this information to NPR. Now, gone unmentioned so far is that even if Clinton won that miracle 6 and there were no other coin tosses, it would make little difference in the outcome. That is in part because of the complicated way Iowa Democrats allocate their delegates, and what was being reported on election night and what wasn't. Well, hold on. If they do a dozen 11, let's say, well, is it really 1 in 62 or a 2% chance that she's going to win 6 tosses? No. I love it. You got to pay attention to how they report stuff, folks. First, you got to understand that the state party reported a grand total of 171,508 caucus goers, the second highest turnout in Iowa caucus history behind 2008, and no raw vote was or is ever broken out by candidate and recorded at the Democratic caucuses. That's because in Iowa, it's a delegate game. Iowa has a multi-step process for picking delegates. Now, Monday night was just step number one. Here's how it works. There were 1,683 precinct caucuses in Iowa on caucus night. Those the precinct caucuses elected 11,065 delegates to the county conventions, which take place on March 12th. That universe of 11,065 delegates is whittled down to 1,406 who will attend congressional district caucus on April 30th and state conventions on June 18th. And here's the root of what's causing all the confusion. The breakdown of those 11,065 is not reported on caucus night. What is reported, what Clinton's 49.9% to Bernie's 49.6% tracing paper thin lead is based on a state delegate equivalence. Those are estimates of how many of the 11,065 will attend the congressional district and state conventions. Now, when the coin tosses are happening, they are elected delegates in that larger universe. That means for Clinton to have picked up 4 delegates, she would have had to have won not 6 in a row, but more like 47. 47. You won't believe what else they might have at 47. Not the 47, but other stuff. And folks, it's really funny, but got to take a hard break. We'll be right back.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the Tax Doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
And we are back. It's hour number 3 already. I cannot believe how fast this morning is flying by. Tonight, folks. Let me get this out of the way really quick. Tonight is the gala, the Hillsborough County Republican Party Group Republican Gala It's got a long name. Sorry if I get it all mixed up and backwards and everything else. But it's happening tonight. Festivities start at 5 p.m. Dinner, I do believe, is at 7 at the Crown Plaza in Nashua, New Hampshire, which is conveniently located off of Exit 8. Now, the reception part starts at 5. Yours truly will be there the entire time. Your lovable host here. I have been asked to be the MC of ceremonies, and it is going to be rip-roaring good time, as it were, if you were to be down in Kentucky or someplace like that. You know, it's going to be a knee slapper. But I guess we don't slap knees up here in the Northeast. People are too sophisticated and too educated for that, right? But it's kind of, I don't know why. I've been to, people may not knee slap, but I've been to concerts and to nightclubs in New England where people do a lot of old-fashioned foot stomping, because that ain't dancing. So they might as well go ahead and do some knee slapping too. Yeah, I just insulted people's dancing. I know. And notice I didn't say who dances poorly as far as racial or ethnic groups, because I've seen some poor dancers of all skin colors. I mean, not that I'm the world's greatest dancer, but I'm a decent dancer. I've seen some people do some, the old stereotype, Latinos and blacks have rhythm. That is a stereotype, because they all don't have rhythm. I have seen it from my own eyes. It's like, the movie, White Man Can't Jump. Well, that's not true either. All black people can play basketball. Oh, hell, that's not true. So, yeah, all black people and Latinos do not have, and all Latinos do not have rhythm. I have seen it with mine own eyes. And it was painful. But you know what? They're having fun moving their body to the music, whatever music is in their head, and that is fine. When it comes to dancing, if it feels good for you and you like it, go ahead and do it, honey. Doesn't matter how it looks or appears to somebody else. It just go ahead and do your thing, as they say. Move your groove. More people should do that, really. More people should. People don't dance as much as they used to. And I love dancing. That people should dance more. It's a fun, healthy activity. It's very sociable. It's very social. And it's hard not to have a good time when people are dancing. Are you going to be mad? If you're having a dance-off, that's one thing. But if you're just out having fun, how is it that you can be mad at somebody? Dancing has also been proven to be rather therapeutic, because probably because it has to do with the music, and music can be very therapeutic. But dance, folks. God made you to dance. There is a time to dance, so go ahead and dance. This whole notion that some of these, are there still these towns? Remember what the movie Footloose was based on, a town that didn't allow dancing. That's just, no, God meant for people to have joy and to express that joy through music and dance. Dance, people. Just dance. The world would be a much better place if we all danced together. It would be. Look, we can sing together. Look, even World War I, there was a Christmas break, and you could hear the two fighting sides, singing carols and stuff across no man's land. And of course, the next day they went back to shooting bullets at each other. But for one night, there was a truce and there was peace, and mankind sang together because of Christmas and the Lord Jesus Christ. So God made people to rejoice in music and dance. So dance, for crying out loud, dance. And I don't care if you're good at it or bad at it. What I don't like to see is people who think that they're so bad that they become so self-conscious that they hold back. Don't do that. Don't. Just let loose and dance. Because in the end, nobody is going to remember how well or how bad you danced anyway. Well, maybe your friends might tease you a little bit later if you're a terrible dancer, but nobody else is really going to care. They're going to look at you once, think it's funny, and never think of you again. So what are you worried about? Just dance. Politicians like to dance. Well, they do a different kind of dance, though. When it comes to all those delegates, however, 11,000. See, I didn't fully understand how Iowa does this caucus thing. It's really kind of strange. It's a weird thing. I mean, it gets people very involved. And really, you would think because there are people there from all sides watching what's going on, and you're actually counting the votes right then and there, and you see the people, it kind of helps to reduce the fraud aspect. Except when it starts to get really close and things get behind the scenes, like with these coin flips and such. So what actually happened? Now, did the coin tosses, are they actually used to elect delegates in that larger universe of 11,065 available? Well, in short, yes. Iowa, according to NPR, and it's not alone, uses coin tosses to break ties in precincts that award an odd number of delegates. Odd number. Now, follow me here. This is important stuff. This is where Bernie Sanders comes in and said that the Clintons are stealing. Let's say a caucus has 5 delegates that are set to be awarded. Let's call this caucus Precinct 1. There are 30 people for Clinton and 30 people for Sanders in this precinct caucus. And no one on either side can be persuaded to support the other candidate. They're deadlocked at 30-30. The result, then, is that Clinton and Sanders each get 2 delegates apiece. Now, what happens to the final delegate? Because there's 5, not 4, but there's a tie here, 30-30. The caucus reverts to, you guessed it, a coin toss. So the notion that people are telling you, like NPR first tried to say when you first looked at this piece, that the coin toss thing was a myth, is actually accurate and true. So you see how they try to run this. They try to say it at the top of the story. It's a myth that Clinton won by coin tosses. And then as you read down through the story and you follow the actual process of what goes on in Iowa, you find out there was indeed coin tosses. Clinton obviously won some of them. Let's continue. By a coin toss. Now, does it happen often? Well, obviously not. And according to NPR, during a normal caucus race in Iowa, on the Democrat side, there would be no need for coin tosses. But obviously, this is not a normal race by any stretch of the imagination. It's not normal. Clinton and Sanders were separated by a 0.3 percentage point margin. Or the equivalent of about 4 delegates. Really, that's it. Now, if you actually counted the number of delegates based on the so-called number, based on that 0.3% difference, you're looking at 701 delegates for Clinton, 697 for Sanders, with 8 for Martin O'Malley. Now, this happened to be the closest race in 40 years in the Iowa Democratic caucuses. Now, according to the story, and according to other people, there were some 60 missing caucus goers. 60. How do you misplace 60? Now, the Des Moines Register explained how a tie happened at one precinct after 60 registered caucus goers were missing since the initial tally. And O'Malley supporters had been redistributed. Clinton was assigned 4 delegates and Bernie got 3. But 1 remained unassigned based on the initial count, unable to account for that numerical discrepancy, and the orphan delegate that it produced. The Sanders campaign challenged the results, and precinct leaders called a Democratic Party hotline that was set up to advise on such situations. Party officials who do not want Sanders, by the way, who've stated it over and over again, they prefer Clinton. Party officials, DNC, recommended they settle the dispute with a coin toss. A Clinton supporter correctly called heads on a quarter flipped in the air, and Clinton received the 5th delegate. This is where Bernie is calling foul. Now, it's pretty unlikely, but it's not impossible. Again, as Taylor original reporter reports, seemingly unusual tie-break methods are not new in politics. Wyoming uses coin tosses to break ties. Mississippi has used coin tosses. But in this particular case, because of the way the numbers were working and the supporters, there were so-called orphan delegates. And what is being reported is that the vast majority of the orphan delegates somehow, via coin toss, were going to Hillary. And the whole notion that there were just 6 delegates and 6 coin tosses that she won is not true, because there were more than 6 tosses. There were more than 6. Thereby, if you actually look at the total count of delegates, how did Clinton get them all when you add up all the numbers that were voted upon versus the ones that were not voted upon because they were too close to call, or there were ties within that framework of caucusing? Not to mention the O'Malley delegates that were then redistributed. Bernie Sanders has a valid point. Given the number of delegates that they finally ended up with, and looking at how they did the coin tosses and how many coin tosses there were, and the unfathomable luck on the Clinton side to garner the number of coin toss wins that they did, based on the number of coin tosses that were actually done, to give her the number of delegates that she has, Sanders has a point that the Clintons possibly pulled some shenanigans to steal some delegates. Just saying. That the very notion of this NPR story just proves the fact that there were some shenanigans going on, because the final numbers are not justifiable by the odds. They're not. Now, ironically, the story was trying to show that there was no shenanigans, but what the story ended up showing from NPR is that there were most likely shenanigans going on. Simply because the number of delegates that there were in total versus the number of delegates that were awarded versus the number of so-called orphaned or missing delegates and who got those and how they were distributed proves that there was some shenanigans most likely going on. And Bernie is right. I hate to say Bernie's right about anything, but when you're dealing with the Clintons, anything is possible. Because the first thing that you do is you call the National Committee, the National Party, who is already in the tank for Hillary. They're going to do everything in their power to give you information and tell you stuff that is advantageous to Hillary. And you're probably saying, well, how is a coin toss advantageous to Hillary? What's not reported here is that, yeah, everybody thinks you have a 50-50 chance on a coin toss. That's actually not numerically accurate. And the reason is because a coin is lopsided. What do you think? A coin is weighted on one side heavier than the other. That affects how many times a coin is dropped. And if you do a number, and they've done this scientifically, and where they have done, machines, flipping coins. And where did I see? I saw this a few years ago. They did like 1 million coin tosses using the same coins. 1 million because of the U.S. coin, the head side is heavier. Thereby, there is an unequal distribution of weight that would cause the head side to flip up more often, you would think, right? And actually, that is true. Now, in more cases than not, this is also something not being reported in NPR, but I saw it someplace else. Clinton's camp got to call the toss more often than Bernie. They called heads because the odds are scientifically proven that you're going to end up with heads more often than tails. It's not 50-50. And if you get to call the toss first and you call heads, the advantages are yours. And trust me, this is what they were given. This is the instructions. The Democratic National, you can call it, well, that's a conspiracy theory, right? No, it's not conspiracy theory. It's just something that people, if you pay attention to this stuff, you know the facts. The facts are that there is a significant, it might be small, but it's still a significant greater chance of you getting heads when you do a coin toss. It is also significant that if you are able to be the one to call heads, you are going to win more often than the person who's left with tails. That is scientific fact, based on the usage of a United States quarter. Now, frankly, each one of our coins has a different determination of how many times heads turns up versus tails. But on the quarter, it is very clear. In the quarter, but believe it or not, if you're going to do a coin flip, you should use a dime. That is the U.S. minted coin that has the closest rate to 50-50. The quarter is the coin that the landing of heads is greatest. In other words, it's not 50-50, but say it's 6 times out of 10, you're going to get heads. That's significant when it comes to gambling and your odds. It's huge. Why do you think that dice have to be precise? In that people try to cheat by weighing and having weighted dice. Why do you think when they do lotteries, the lotteries have to be the very ink on the ball can persuade a ball to be picked or not picked more often than other balls, which is why they are very scientifically careful to equally distribute the weight of every ball, because some balls with bigger numbers have more ink, thus changing the weight ratio. So they have to counter. Why do you think these balls are so heavily guarded, armed guard? They have to be equally, weight on each ball has to be evenly distributed, and they all have to weigh the exact amount. This is sophisticated stuff. And these people know this. And they specifically said because Hillary was ahead in the polls that she's going to get the chance to call first. Hillary's camp then knows, well, if we're going to get to do a coin toss, we're going to call heads. Why? Because 60 to 70% of the time we're going to be right. Those are the odds. So then you have to ask, how is it that there were so many close calls? Aha. Something is afoot. I'm telling you, something is rotten in Denmark right now with the Dems. They are trying to steal this election. And they've already started. They're trying to steal it for Hillary. Folks, don't doubt me on this, folks. They've put it into practice already on how to get it done. And they are going to try to steal it. Do not doubt me. I don't. It is way too. Folks, think about this for a second. It is way too early. I mean, this is just the first vote in the primary, and there is already this kind of controversy on both sides. This is going to be a very long election season. Because this is not going to be the first and the only. This is going to get worse in my book. It's going to get worse. Hey, did you hear that there is? Oh, by the way, we'll get to the other Clinton news right after the break. But this is something that I think is kind of interesting. And this is from the St. Augustine Record, staugustine.com. The number of undocumented workers, of course, they're calling it undocumented. They're not undocumented. The number of illegal Cubans entering the U.S. is up sharply in 2015. Now, wait a minute. I thought we just normalized and open relations with Cuba. Oh, wait, but didn't we say that this was going to happen? That now that Cuba opened its doors, or to its country, no longer closed off, that more people were going to feel that it was safe to leave Cuba. So more than 51,000 illegal Cubans entered the United States last year. A dramatic surge over 2014. Newly released immigration numbers for the final 3 months of 2015 show that 17,071 Cubans arrived in the U.S. without prior authorization, bringing the calendar year total to 51,011. But wait, I thought Cuba was a wonderful example of a fair and balanced socialistic communistic society. Didn't the Black Democratic Caucus go down there and say the same thing? Oh, everything's wonderful in Cuba. Well, if it's so wonderful, why are Cubans exiting their island nation?
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571. Or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Bring the rain.
603-835-3224 is the number. WND.com as we continue into the final segment here on the Rod Eccles Show. Memos show that Hillary is guilty of criminal fraud in Whitewater. Ken Starr had evidence, but presumed grand jury would not indict the former First Lady, former Senator. Washington-based watchdog group Judicial Watch has released 246 pages of a previously undisclosed internal memo. Now, before I continue with this, I just want to read you some of the headlines that I have run across. And I know headlines can be misleading, but when we're talking about the Clintons, keep these in mind. And we're really just talking about Hillary right now. Let me just read you some of the headlines. And they go from, you know, her legality to her health, all that kind of stuff. Doctor says Hillary at high risk for blood clots. I thought Hillary was completely in totally good health. Hillary caught an email lie while on the campaign trail. Oh, she lied on her emails? She lies about her emails, but I guess she lied in an email. Doctor warns Hillary your meds could kill you. Top prosecutor says new Hillary revelations are very telling. What revelations is he talking about? Former majority leader to lynch. No stalling on Hillary case. There's evidently another headline. This is evidently making mention that there might be a film. A film will make viewers jury in Hillary trial. Huh. Guess somebody's in the works of making a film so people can view it and then judge her, I guess. Well, excuse me, look at big money trail for Clinton pardons. Bill Clinton Linda Tripp says, I saved Monica from being killed. There's been a lot of allegations about the body count behind the Clintons, by the way. So, I mean, that just falls right in line with that. There is a death list in IRS-ravaged women of Clinton. Goes back to Linda Tripp saving Monica Lewinsky from being killed. Ex-U.S. attorney predicts special prosecutor for Hillary. Ex-Department of Justice official, twisted Hillary scandal is felony corruption. And even a headline, pets killed, tires slash, and late-night phone calls. Keep all that stuff in mind, folks. And those are just the headlines. Washington-based watch group Judicial Watch has released a 246 pages of previously undisclosed internal memos from Ken Starr's Office of Independent Counsel Investigation in 1998, showing prosecutors had evidence that Hillary Clinton and her associate Webb Hubbell at the Rose Law Firm in Little Rock, Arkansas, were guilty of criminal fraud in the Whitewater case. Remember, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. That's what we kept hearing from the Democrats. There's nothing here. Ken Starr's got nothing. This is just a witch hunt, a vast right-wing conspiracy. There's nothing there. See, Ken Starr didn't have anything, which is why he didn't, go ahead and try to indict her or anything, because there was no evidence of anything. Evidently, there's 246 pages of undisclosed memos from 1998 that show, as far as prosecutorial concerns are concerned, that she was guilty, along with her buddy Webb, of criminal fraud in the Whitewater affair. Now, Judicial Watch said the newly released documents also show Clinton and Hubbell engaged in a criminal cover-up conspiracy that included destroying material documents and lying under oath to federal authorities. Hell, lying under oath to federal authorities is nothing new for the Clintons. Bill Clinton got impeached over that. I still don't understand and know why he wasn't eventually legally, prosecuted in the courts for perjury. Bush didn't pardon him, and the president can't pardon himself. But Bush didn't. I don't believe Bush. Did Bush pardon Clinton? I don't remember. I don't recall that happening. Now, their efforts, Judicial Watch said, were aimed at preventing the Whitewater affair from denying Bill Clinton the White House in '92 and from derailing his presidency in its first term. Now, in a presage of the drama unfolding as the FBI investigates the private email server Hillary Clinton used as Secretary of State, the newly released documents also show that Ken Starr declined prosecution in '98 only out of concern a jury would not convict the First Lady. So all her life, this woman has gotten preferential treatment just because of her husband's position. And people say, well, why did she stay with Bill after all of that? After Bill cheated on her then, and he probably cheated on her back when they were in Arkansas and he was governor, because Hillary enjoyed the preferential treatment of her husband's position. She could get away with doing just about anything. She didn't have to love the man. She didn't even have to have sex with the man. She didn't even have to, she didn't even have to probably sleep in the same bed with the man. All she had to do was just stay by his side, make it look like they were a unified couple. Bill got to go off and have his fun with all the other women that he groped and potentially raped and abused. And Hillary got to enjoy her position of being the First Lady of Arkansas and the First Lady of the United States. All wonderful, powerful positions of privilege. Yeah, I'm calling the former First Lady, former Senator, former Secretary of State, a gold digger. And it was all about power and money. And obviously, we know that people will do all sorts of evil things for money. Now, money is not the root of all evil. The Bible accurately translated states that a love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Because money and power are not the same thing. Although if you do have money, you can gain power. And if you have power, you can gain money. But they're not the same thing. They can work in tandem very well with one another, but they're not the same thing. And this woman sought power in order to gain money. Because everything that she did, whether it be legal or illegal as far as financial gain, came from a base of what her positions were or her husband's positions were. And she got those positions most of the time based on what her husband's position was. It was the power that led her to money. And when you have that kind of combination, people will do anything to protect their ill-gotten gains. Why do you think criminals fight so hard to stay out of jail? Why do you think people get killed over a little bit of money? It's because they love the money more than they love people. And a love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. So why would people be surprised that the Clintons would be capable of doing such horrific crimes? Now, obviously, you cannot tell me that over the past 30 or 40 years, everything that the Clintons have been accused of, and it is an extremely long list, that everybody else out there in the world, you Clinton supporters, you cannot possibly tell me that over the past 40 years, going from governor to White House to state, the Capitol, you know, from governor to president to Hillary being senator to secretary of state, you cannot tell me that in that 40 years, in that long, long list of accusations, that everybody else out there, all of those people, you can't possibly tell me all of those people hate the Clintons and are jealous of them, and they made up these stories. And that entire list of very important and significant criminal accusations, all of that list, none of it is true. How can you possibly be that naive to believe that? When in fact, we know for a fact, in more than one occasion, the Clintons were proven to be guilty of some of that. I never had sexual relations with that woman until I did. Now I need to get back to work for the American people. That was a lie. He lied under oath. He lied under oath. He committed perjury. The same type of thing that Martha Stewart went to jail for. You understand that? Martha Stewart wasn't found guilty of insider trading. She was found guilty of perjuring herself. And they used that conviction of perjury to deny her own company, or running it anyway, being the CEO. Because they couldn't get her on insider trading, because evidently the evidence wasn't there, so she didn't do it. But because even the great, powerful Martha was a little bit scared of the government and what they could do to her, she lied under oath to protect herself. They caught her and said, "Aha, we got you now." Got her convicted of it and threw the book at her. The Clintons get proven to lie under oath, and they get away scot-free. Clinton absolutely lies about her emails, gets caught in them, and she blames it on some vast right-wing conspiracy that does not exist. And you people on the left buy it? Now look, anybody else that isn't named Clinton that has this type of accused criminal activity that the Clintons have, you would call them a crime syndicate. You would call them the mafia. Now, I'm serious. It's a heart attack here. They have got an extremely long list of accusations. Sure, there's very little that they have been actually convicted of. But it's not, you can't name me another politician, another individual that would have a record similar to the Clintons of accusations and not be found guilty of some of that. Because it all can't be lies. It all can't be made up. It all can't be due to some vast... Because if it was a vast right-wing conspiracy, do you not believe that the conspiracy creators would have come up with scenarios to definitely make sure that they went down? That the Clintons would go down and they would be tossed out and nobody would ever think about them ever again. That would be a vast right-wing conspiracy. At some point, it would have been at least partially successful. But to this point, that it's never. Are you telling me the Clintons are that smart and that maneuverable that they can outwit this vast right-wing conspiracy over the past 40 years? If you're on the left supporting Clinton, how do you buy that kind of crap? You know, Bill Clinton described it best when he was talking about Barack Obama. If you believe that all this stuff that we've been accused of is all made up by a vast right-wing conspiracy, you're living in a fairy tale. Now, is everything that they've been accused of accurate and they're guilty of? Probably not. No. Can I determine from my freedom throne in this chair behind this mic, determine which ones in every single case that the Clintons are guilty of and which ones they're not? No, I can't. I don't have the evidence for everything that they've been accused of. I'm not privy to that type of stuff. But I can tell you, if you're going to play the odds are, I mean, if it's 50-50, come on. Even if it's 60-40 with the 60% being them innocent, it's still 40% guilty of something. That's the odd. You can't have a list that long and not actually have done something. I mean, that's the odds of them being totally and completely innocent of everything that they've been accused of over the past 40 years is got to be greater than winning the jackpot to the last $1.6 billion lottery jackpot and being the only winner. The odds are astronomical. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. Is it highly, highly improbable? Yeah. And knowing the Clintons, that just makes the odds even greater. So they actually have evidence that this woman was possibly guilty enough to take it to a grand jury. But the only reason why he didn't is Ken Starr was so scared because of all the negative press that was out there against him that the Clintons would not be, or she would not be convicted, that she would not be indicted. That's the only reason that's being said that he didn't bring all that stuff forward. So basically, what I'm saying is, evidently, she lied about Whitewater. Her husband lied about having sex. She lied about her emails. And God knows what else that both of them lied about. But she's the most qualified person to be president right now. She doesn't know how to handle classified documentation and classified material. She either knowingly or inadvertently has her staff remove top secret classifications from documents. She knowingly uses a private server, which everybody knows when you're doing government business, you do not use your own server. It has to go through government servers. If anything, just for encryption and security purposes. And she doesn't do it. Not only that, look, I mean, people are bashing Rubio for bad decisions. His Gang of Eight thing, bad decision. His credit card scandal, putting some of his personal stuff on a Republican committee, whatever, credit card, bad decision. But those bad decisions, supposedly, we're told, makes Rubio unfit to be president. But Hillary's bad decision to give her server to a company that knows nothing about server security, who kept that server in basically a bathroom closet, that's not a bad decision, though. Because she's the smartest, brightest woman on the planet. Putting government secrets, United States secrets, on the line, out there in the open, vulnerable, that's not a bad decision. Oh, that was just a small mistake. Well, Hillary lied. At least 4 people died. Isn't that what you say of Bush, you lefties? Bush told the same lie that Clinton told. But I guess Bush's mistake is that Bush actually had a backbone and actually went to war, so people died because Bush lied. Clinton lied and nobody died, right? Is that what you're saying? Oh, I forgot. No, Clinton, people did die. It's just that he used a bunch of cruise missiles to accomplish his murderous tirades. Right? Did he not? There was a point where Clinton used so many cruise missiles that our stockpile was running low because there wasn't in the budget to replace the complete number that he was using. You people remember that? That was actually reported. You remember that? I remember it. Yeah, our stockpile of cruise missiles is running low. We're running out of cruise missiles because he's firing off so many all over the Middle East. That's how we got the movie Wag the Dog. Remember that with, not Dreyfus, what's his name? Mrs. Robinson there. From Mrs. Robinson. Tootsie. Why? I keep saying Richard Dreyfuss. It's not Richard Dreyfuss. Anyway. He was in that movie. Wag the Dog. It was basically a movie based on Clinton and all of his tail wagging the dog to distract the American people and the press from what was really happening. Now, the problem is that Bill was very good at it. Hillary's not so good at it. Bill was very slick and very good at lying to you. Hillary's is not very good at lying to you. Bill was a very likable guy. As much as you may, people have always said, Bill may have been a criminal, but I like Bill. He was a likable guy. Bill was a nice guy. I mean, he really wasn't nice, but he was a nice guy. Hardly anybody says that about Hillary. What you normally get from Hillary is that she's a bitch, she's shrill, she's harsh, she's abrasive, she's not friendly, she's arrogant. I mean, all sorts of negative connotations come about when somebody talks about Hillary. Even her so-called friends. Find out they're not so friendly with her. You got people that say, yeah, in the White House, Bill was great to work for, but then Hillary would come into the picture and, oh my God, and the job which was once pleasant turns into a nightmare. We've had a lot of Secret Service people tell us about that. Oh, it was great to work for Bill, but Hillary, man, oh, she was awful. Nobody liked her. So people, even though Bill lied, they liked Bill. Can't stand Hillary. Maybe Bill didn't really like Hillary either, which is why he cheated on her so much. But for political expediency, they have to stay together. I have one question, though. If Hillary does not get elected president, will the Clintons stay together? Will Bill and Hillary stay together now? If she's not elected, because this is it for her. They're done. She has to win or they're out. Even if she wins, she's most likely in 4 years going to be out. They're done. I don't know if we can survive 4 years of her, but they're done. The Clintons are done. Thankfully. But will they stay together is the question. My bet is probably not. Because there'll be no need to stay together. I know, unless they stay together for Chelsea, for her to run for something. They might take their togetherness out of expediency to the grave with them. If Chelsea decides that she wants to become the new Hillary. And by the way, I'm hearing reports that Chelsea's is taking more after her mother than her father. And that Chelsea's not very well liked either by people surrounding her. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I'm starting to hear those types of things about Chelsea. So we'll be done with Bill and Hillary, but we may not be done with Chelsea. Ugh. Do we really have to subjugate our children to this, their child, their evil offspring? I don't know. Anyway, folks, that is it for today, and actually it's going to be it for the week. Tomorrow will be a best of show. I'll be so busy with tonight's festivities and dealing with all the after effects tomorrow that I will not be on the air in the morning tomorrow. So we'll have a wonderful weekend, and we will be back here on Monday. Don't forget to tune in or come by, stop by and say hi at the Crown Plaza Hotel starting at 5 p.m. this evening in Nashua, New Hampshire. Until then, Rush and Hannity are up next. You people have a wonderful Friday, a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been The Rod Eccles Show, and I am out.